Good morning. This is Angie with the Yarn Room, and I'm going to teach you to crochet. First, we're going to learn how to make a simple chain. So I just have my yarn, and this is the tail, and this is the working yarn, the yarn that we're going to be using to crochet everything. And this is just going to be what's going to be hanging off the end. This is the way I do it. I put my hook put the yarn on the hook and I twist it twice. And then I pull up. And I have a little loop. And I use the working yarn and bring that over, which is calling yarn over. Yarn over. And I hook it with my hook. And I turn it to go in through that loop. And that's your first chain. Now, this is a loop that we would work in if we made something in the round, but we'll talk about that later. Now, I have the yarn in my hand. This is the way I hold it. In my hand and over my forefinger, and that is like a tension. And then you always have to hold this tail, because if not, it'll just be flopping around over and over. So we don't want that. Okay, so here we go. Let's see. Let's go back to normal. In my hand, over my finger, holding the tail like this. I really don't know how I do it because it's just so automatic. I've been doing this for like 50 years already. So, no, 45 years. I don't want to make myself older. To make the next chain, you just yarn over, which means bringing the yarn over the hook, hooking it, and I turn the hook and pull it through the loop. Now, this is a 3.5 millimeter hook. It's a smaller hook, and I'm choosing it because I'm also going to be using beads. But to learn about hooks and their sizes, we can talk about that later, but generally you have to know this is how why you change hooks. You see how that yarn fits through there? Okay, you don't want it too tight, but you want it to be able to move. And it should fit around there. And that's the size of your stitches. And if you keep it like that, your gauge will be good. And so, but if you kept it long like this and then tried to pull one over, of course, look at that. That's not right. So keep your yarn on the hook. It can still move on the thickest part of the hook. Yarn over. Turn your hook. Do you see how I'm holding the yarn? Turn your hook. And if it's not too tight, you can pull it through. Then I yarn over, put the yarn over. This is the way I found that it's the fastest, other than some people will hold it and yarn over and then hold it again. But that really slows down your crocheting if you want to become faster. So might as well learn it just now like this. Okay, I'm holding the yarn and the tension. See how close my finger is to here? You don't want it to be too loose because then you won't be able to, you'll be straining and everything. Hold it in your hand. Wrap it around your finger. Okay. Sometimes I have to readjust in my hand. Sometimes I don't. After about 5 stitches, I have to readjust in my hand because my finger keeps going higher and higher. No, my finger doesn't go higher. My thumb goes lower holding that tail, and I have to readjust by holding the tail closer to the hook. And there you are. You're crocheting. Yarn over, pull through. Yarn over, pull through. Yarn over, pull through. Yarn over, pull through. Now you have a chain. I'm going to make a couple more because I am going to show you what to do after this. So you have a chain. You want more than a chain, right? Okay, so we're going to do single crochets. And a single crochet is not wrapping over, not yarning over, but just putting your hook into the stitch you want. And if we're going back, this is what you would do to make like blankets or anything that's flat. You would, for a single crochet, just go into the next stitch, not the one that you're in, but the next one. Put your hook in there. Bring it through the stitch. Now remember, this has to be on there, so you can tighten it at this time. This has to be, make them even. Now you yarn over, and you can pull through both of them. And that's a single crochet. Let's do it again. Now we're going to find the next stitch. We're going to bring it through. Make sure that they're nice and even. And we're going to yarn over. See how I did it just so automatically? And we're going to pull through. That's another stitch. Put your hook through the stitch. Okay, I muted this little section here because what you're seeing is an old lady forgetting what the heck she's doing. And it reminds me of when I learned how to crochet. I asked my grandmother, who was probably already 70 years old at the time, to teach me how. And we sat down, and in Spanish, she told me, I forgot. So there we were trying to figure out how to crochet just by looking at something that we had and figuring it out. So now you're just watching a granny trying to figure it out. Hope you enjoy it. You can laugh at me if you want. In the old days, we didn't have the internet to help us. There was no YouTube, nothing. We were just left there floating around, knowing nothing. I really enjoy the internet now. It's like magic to me. I think I'm finally figuring it out here. Am I? Yeah, there I go. This was just amazing to watch. Now I'm the old lady. I used to be a kid. Once upon a time, people. I'm going to let you stay with me here. You can hear my birds in the background. And we're going to work towards the end. And all we're doing is the same thing over and over and over. And this is called a single crochet. You don't yarn over or anything, but you hook the yarn and you bring it through. Put it through the hook, through the stitch. Bring the yarn over. Hook through the stitch. There you go. Hook through the stitch. Yarn over. Pull through. Hook through the stitch. Yarn over. Pull through. And we're getting to the end. Now, you can work in this last one here. Do you see it right there? Okay, I'm going to put my hook in there. And it's even. I'm going to make, no, it's not even. Okay, now it's even. See, the loops are even on the hook. Now I yarned over and I pulled through. Now you have a line. Look at that, the first row. Now we want to make a row going this way. So how do we do that? So after I complete that stitch, I'm going to chain one. Did you see that? Yarn over and pull through this loop, and that's a chain one, and that's kind of a step going up to the next row. Now we're going to turn our work this way. Now we're going that way. Now when you look at your stitches here, do you see, let's see if I can get a good view of this. One stitch here. Let me just get rid of this yarn and put it in the front. So you're coming up through here. You're not going to work in that same stitch. You're going to work in the second one. Now, do you see how there are little V's? You're going to stick your hook in the V. That's where you're going to work every time you want to make a stitch. If you're just making a single crochet, no fancy stitches or anything. So we've turned our work over, and we're going to stick our hook into the first stitch. We're going to pull it through, and here we have our yarn ready to be yarned over and pull through. And that's your first stitch on a row going the other way. And this is how you're going to build it up. Look at that. And when you get to the end over here, you're going to do the same, and you're going to turn around. I wouldn't worry too much about going into the wrong stitch at the moment, because you're just learning and you need to just practice going back and forth, back and forth. So that's your assignment for now. Go practice, people.